Welcome everybody to the SAP Now roundtable session entitled The Critical Pursuit of Customer Experience Nirvana, Hyper-Personalization. My name is Dave Gruehn. I am the Senior CX Solution Director for Retail with SAP. I have 30 years of direct retail experience, including management consultant, retail CIO, partner and solution provider, including 14 years at Microsoft and 7 years at SAP, focused on harnessing emerging technologies which enhance retail customer experiences. Our roundtable objectives for today, we are going to review some current trends in retail, which I believe are creating a perfect storm for retail hyper-personalization. We're going to try and do the best we can with 100 people in a virtual setting to share our collective insight and experiences regarding these trends and their impact on retail, and then discuss how retailers can harness these trends to enhance their customer experience maturity. I'll be soliciting questions throughout the presentation for the roundtable to solicit your feedback, but feel free to submit your ideas and comments in the chat wall at any time. So let's dive right into that first trend. The first trend is commerce everywhere. There's no such thing anymore as e-commerce. It's just commerce, and it's everywhere. Consumers have more options and avenues to purchase products than at any time in history, and these touch points will continue to grow, a daunting challenge for retailers to manage on their own. More and more customers are buying targeted products within social networks. Mobility is no longer a nice-to-have touch point. It needs to be at the center of customer and workforce engagement. And as we will see later in the presentation, the plethora of shopping touchpoints will continue to explode, and identifying key partners to help navigate this new customer-centric journey will be essential. A key point I'd like to make right here is that retailers must abandon their legacy thinking in terms of shopping channels. Today, there is only one channel, the customer channel. Retailers need to get on that channel or risk becoming irrelevant. The next trend is bridging the physical and digital shopping environments with seamless experiences. As consumers choose to invest in experiences rather than products, especially Gen Z, which is less enamored with Amazon than previous generations, according to a Wunderman Thompson white paper entitled The Future Shopper, retailers are responding by creating a more immersive shopping experience, which drives people into their stores and ensures they leave not just with products, but also with memories. This is something that's difficult to replicate online, and many retailers are quickly exploring experiential retail strategies to effectively compete with the likes of Amazon. The pandemic pushed consumers online, which put an electron microscope on the digital channel, and retailers are hyper-focused on strengthening this channel for speed, accuracy, efficiency, and profit. But it's crucial that retailers let go of that legacy mentality and, again, focus on that single customer channel. We're seeing a lot of interest in closing the gap between online and brick-and-mortar operations through the adoption of digital technologies with the goal of enhancing the consumer and employee experience while engendering trust. Retailers are exploring smart retail models built upon innovation to create better consumer experiences, which harness the power of data to drive outcomes and building intelligent enterprise foundations where technology and humans work together to create value. The Internet of Things, artificial intelligence, and advanced analytics, which are used to collect, interpret, and act on massive amounts of purchasing behavioral inventory data, is going to play a key role in this effort. I'd highly recommend you look at a recent RS News article entitled Smart Retail Gets Phygital, How Digital Technologies Enable the Store of the Future. The next trend is establishing customer trust, which I think is one of the core keys to hyper-personalization. Retailers must strive for personal relationships with their customers, and to relate with someone, you have to know them personally. Knowing a customer personally will require them to share intimate data about themselves, their needs, their preferences, and their behavior. To gather that information, you must establish trust. Customers will trust you with their intimate data, especially digital natives, if they believe there is transparency in what data is being collected and how it is being used, control in their ability to add, modify, and delete it at any time, and control that you will protect it and maintain its privacy within the relationship, and perceived value for them in sharing it with you. How does this action enrich their lives, add convenience, and strengthen the relationship? Retailers will need the explicit consent of their customers to gather data and put it to work, which requires a new level of transparency and a new level of collaboration between customer and retailer. To execute and harness customer trust, retailers must first listen. Every employee that engages with a customer should be able to enhance this data, as associates are the face of the brand and the voice of the customer at any touch point in the shopping journey. They must understand what they hear. Emerging technologies combined with the operational and experience data will aggregate, analyze, and predict the current and emerging needs of the customer. Consumers will expect retailers to know and understand them and to meet them where they are, transforming traditional marketing and experience approaches into more personalized, experience-driven offerings. And finally, they must act. Every employee that engages with the customer should be able to access this invaluable customer insight to provide personal, contextual customer experiences. Which leads us to retail's holy grail, personalized one-on-one engagement at scale. Led by the millennial generation, customers have switched from buying products to buying experiences, but not just any experience, one catered to their personal needs and desires. Personalized customer experience has been a crucial strategic goal for retailers for decades. But for the first time in history, the combination of emerging disruptive technologies, the customer's willingness and ability to share personal information, and the shift in consumer preference from buying products to demanding personalized value-add shopping experiences have made personalized one-on-one engagement with customers at scale a reality. I call this the retail perfect storm. Rick Parrish, VP and Principal Analyst at Forrester, states that emotion has become the most important dimension of customer experience quality. As we'll see later in the presentation, this perfect storm will ultimately allow retailers to not only tap into highly advanced customer experience attributes, such as mood and emotion, but effectively predict a customer's needs and wants within an adaptive, real-time, intelligent shopping environment. Here's the real question, however. While the components exist to make hyper-personalization a reality at scale, will retailers be able to jump the chasm between opportunity and reality, given the challenges that exist, such as digital and cultural transformations that strain and challenge existing legacy infrastructure and behavior? Being able to tap into customer emotion has tremendous potential for retailers. According to Forrester's Customer Experience Index for 2020, best-in-class brands average 17 emotionally positive experiences for every negative experience, while the lowest performing brands provide only 2 emotionally positive experiences for each negative one. So here's our first question that I'm going to pose to the roundtable. Is your company focused on creating hyper-personalized relationships with retail customers? Do you think this is an important initiative, and do you think it's possible? You should be able to unmute your phones, hopefully, and chime in. If not, please feel free to add your comments in the chat wall. Any takers? The joy of roundtables in a virtual setting. Because if I was sitting there with you, I'd be pointing at people. Okay. Well, I'm going to guess that you guys agree with this concept and that you're focused on this. And as we'll see, I'll show you a couple trends where we're actually seeing retailers who are investing in these types of technologies. So I think it's something that's actually pretty critically important in the industry. The ability to deliver effective and compelling hyper-personalization is directly dependent on a retailer's existing level of customer experience maturity. Customer experience maturity is an evolution, and every retailer in the world falls into one of the following customer maturity phases: multi-channel or segmented experiences, omni-channel or synchronized experiences, and customer adaptive or customer one experiences. For decades now, retailers have acknowledged the need to move from being multi-channel retailers to omni-channel retailers. Multi-channel retailers offer transactional experiences, and their focus is on their product or brand. While multiple channels exist, the shopping experiences are segmented based on siloed business processes. Omnichannel or unified commerce retailers, on the other hand, strive for synchronized shopping experiences that are seamless, and their focus has shifted to the customer. Their business processes are integrated and focused on the customer journey and require 360-degree views of each customer. While best-in-class retailers are well established in the unified commerce phase, the majority of retailers straddle the fence between offering segmented and synchronized customer experiences. So the majority of our retailers are really straddling the fence between these two phases. Retail's perfect storm is rapidly compelling retailers to seek the holy grail of customer experience nirvana, customer adaptive retailing. This storm is fueled by a combination of rapidly maturing digital customer base, which significantly expanded during the recent pandemic. In fact, we noted, especially in grocery, that huge components of the 55 plus demographic who would never have shopped online for groceries. It just wasn't in their paradigm. It wasn't something they would have even considered. We're forced to give it a try, and it's sticking. It's sticking a little bit. And the things that it's done that I think retailers should, especially grocers, should be very in tune with is it significantly expanded a very large component of their most loyal customer base. It expanded their options, the view of what's possible out there, which really has a potentially huge impact on brand affinity. So if you've got customers that are going out there, and it's very easy now to look at other brands, or God forbid, go to a site like Instacart where it looks like a NASCAR slide of retail grocers out there, all of a sudden their options have exploded, and it's had a significant impact on the retail community. So these customers have now an explosion of disruptive technologies, and their willingness and ability to share information, and the shift in consumer preference from buying products and demanding personalized value-add shopping experiences has really created a huge momentum behind this pursuit to gravitate towards customer adaptive experiences. Let's see. So storm pressure is also being exacerbated by leading edge retailers like Amazon and Walmart, which are already harnessing the power of AI and advanced analytics in their intelligent shopping platforms to hyper-personalize their customer experiences. Customers are also fueling the storm with their willingness to establish one-on-one relationships with retailers that provide the level of intimate personal detail required to create hyper-personalized experiences if they are built on a foundation of trust, control, and perceived value. Their expectations already straddle the fence between the unified commerce and the customer adaptive retailer expectations. And this has created a fairly large gap between what customers expect and what retailers can deliver. So we've got a bit of a gap here between where most retailers are and what most customers are expecting. Retailers will require trusted, innovative partners to aid them in getting from where they are to where they need to be, which is one of the biggest questions I get asked when I talk to CXOs in retail. It's like, I get this. This model makes complete sense to me. I've been trying to be a stronger omni-channel unified retailer, but this notion of being able to become adaptive and predictive is very intriguing. How do I get from where I am to where I need to be? Customer adaptive retailing requires a shift from providing seamless experiences across multiple channels to, again, acknowledging that there is now only one channel, the customer channel. The retailer must wrap every aspect of their brand around each customer, as they pursue their goal of providing hyper-personalized experiences. Customer adaptive retailers offer adaptive experiences that adapt to them in the moment, and their focus is predictive in nature. By harnessing a highly intelligent retail environment or foundation, which is being built, retailers for the first time in history have the opportunity to understand and adapt to customers' emotions, from gestures, tone, and body language to purchasing patterns and preferences, to enhance, create, and improve unique customer experiences. The rapidly expanding base of personalized customer data and the ability to aggregate and harness this data via customer data platforms and advanced analytics provide unprecedented opportunities to predict the wants and needs of individual customers in ways that add value to their lives. This not only improves retailers' opportunity to create and maintain customers for life, but to significantly enhance that customer's lifetime value for the retailer. Now, here's the catch: two critical non-negotiable pillars, and these I view as potential impediments to achieving this journey. These two critical non-negotiable pillars of the customer adaptive retail journey are digitally transforming your business systems and processes and transforming the corporate culture to focus on customer centricity. That's not a small order. Transforming your business requires a very experienced, very knowledgeable partner that can help you down this path, and a customer-centric journey. Cultural transformation is change, and I've been in IT long enough to know how much businesses resist change, but these are the times in which we live. So according to a recent study from IHL and RAS News, retailers are already laying this foundation for these smart, intelligent platforms that are going to be required for hyper-personalization. As you can see here in these top priorities for 2021, again, this is from an RAS News IHL 2021 store experience study, the number one by far technology that retailers were investing in was personalizing the customer experience, followed somewhat closely by supporting contactless payments, upgrading CRM and loyalty programs, and empowering store associates to improve customer service. So a huge component of retail IT spend is now being focused on this critical trend around hyper-personalization. In fact, 31% of all those retailers surveyed are investing their smart money investments around CRM and personalization. So I'm going to try again. Do we have anybody that wants to chime in on any personal examples that you may have of having a one-on-one relationship with a retailer today? I'll start by giving you my example just to kind of give you a framework. And this is really, I think, a pursuit that retailers need to really latch onto, because what it does is, as you'll see from my experience, it creates evangelist champions for your brand in your customers. And that's invaluable marketing that you couldn't afford. But I've worked virtually for 21 years. And as travel has diminished and with limited access to coworkers, I easily lost track of stylish clothing options. Not that I really was in tune with that to begin with. And my wardrobe reflects that. A year ago, I discovered an online fashion retailer which provided a fashion consultant service, which provided packaged outfits. So they really just sent you the whole outfit. Everything went together, which was, for me, a pretty big deal, based on a very immersive customer style preference process. See, this type of service was historically only available at high-end retailers like Nordstrom and Neiman Marcus. The service kept me within the bounds of acceptable fashion, which for me was huge, that's been one of my biggest issues in selecting clothing. Not only what goes with what, but is anybody going to like it? They offered a very rich and immersive communication loop with my fashion consultants. Now, even if some of these are AI and chatbots, I don't care. These are my personal fashion consultants, and they were custom tuning based on my preferences and profile that I created, which I spent a lot of time creating, by the way, fashion choices which really fit me, but were within an acceptable realm of fashion. The clothes are purchased on a recurring subscription, and new packaged outfits are selected to enhance and work with my prior purchases, including online style matching catalog, which to me was huge. I mean, I could literally go on and say, oh, wow, I just got this new stuff. What does it go with that I already have? The retailer solicits extensive feedback on my satisfaction levels and suggestions on how they can improve their service. I have that online catalog of all my purchased wardrobe, which I can access anytime from anywhere. And then what for me was so incredible was, for really the first time in my life, the feedback on my wardrobe from friends and family was outstanding. And it made me excited. So now I have a very high level of excitement regarding these package outfits. Look forward to receiving the next one. And to me, the key personalization satisfaction attributes were control, communication, value, and the impact it had on my life. So does anybody have a story they want to share about a similar relationship that you have with a retailer? Bueller, anyone? Okay. So I think this is ultimately what the goal here is to try and establish these types of, this level of excitement and this level of relationship. And I share a lot of information, and I'm not afraid to do so. I trust the brand, and they've added significant positive influence in my life. So really, the key foundation and linchpin of effective hyper-personalization is customer data. Retailers are facing an unprecedented tsunami of customer data access, and as we've discussed, customer touchpoints are and will continue to explode in number. The majority of it is likely valuable information, but accessing and mining it has become an almost impossible challenge for retailers. Where is it? How can I use it? When can I use it? How do I aggregate it to make the whole greater than the sum of the parts? This is a daunting task to manage, which will only grow in complexity. Retailers must have a customer identity and consent strategy and make critical investments in a customer data platform and the integrated CRM and marketing engines that can harness this invaluable data, converting it effectively into personalized customer experiences and value-add sales. So let's look at the components here of this perfect storm, because this to me is one of the most exciting things. When you bring all these things together, as I mentioned, that for the first time in history, I think we truly have an opportunity to make this a reality, as we saw with my example. The retail hyper-personalization perfect storm. So as I mentioned a couple of times, the first time in history, this perfect storm's on the horizon. This rapidly growing base of digitally mature and digitally native customers is tenaciously assimilating an explosion of emerging technologies and sharing invaluable personal information, with the potential to enable retailers to build real-time hyper-personalized relationships with customers through immersive, predictive, and adaptive customer experiences. So let's look at some of these technologies. We talked about the digital customer and the need for the customer data platform. And we've got to have this smart, intelligent platform, which we'll look at a little bit more depth here in a second. But these are, to me, this is the grease on the skid. This is the conduit through which we are actually able to effectively create and maintain, perpetuate, and then harness these hyper-personalized relationships. We've got things like beacons, proximity sensors, edge computing, and IoT, to name a few, that will provide the real-time infrastructure that greases the skids of immersive adaptive experiences and contextual personal promotions. 5G is the conduit, but it's more than just a better connection. It's a better connector. 5G technology will help enable the intelligent contextual connection between a customer and retailer and give rise to entirely new customer experience, interactions, and business models. Cognitive computing, which is harnessing AI and ML, will play an excellent role of intelligent assistant or virtual advisor. Siri, Google, Cortana, Alexa are great early examples, and intelligent agents will be utilized across the customer shopping journey and would be able to sense and adapt to real-time needs. These intelligent agents would consist of store associates, robots, and AI digital assistants. Read an article not too long ago where Amazon up in Seattle is opening their first grocery store out. It's not Whole Foods, it's actually Amazon grocery store. And they're going to have Amazon Alexa units all throughout those aisles. So if you don't know where the mashed potatoes are, which I can never find when I go in the store, not sure why, I just ask for it like I do in my home, and I'll be direct to where it is. That's kind of where we're headed. Machine vision, along with face and voice recognition, blessed with customer sanctioned profiles and opt-in data tracking, will be used to provide not only automatic inspection, process control, and robot guidance, but the ability to identify individual customers and sense their mood and predict their needs contextually. Blended reality will enhance experiences not just with the new viewing methods, but with new input methods as well. Sensor fusion and customer data platforms will aid retailers in aggregating that all-critical customer data from disparate sources, such that its whole is greater than the sum of the parts, enhancing the retailer's ability to generate and harness an individual 360-degree view of a customer. Real-time analytics, camera and video analytics, and AI algorithms, which are going to be everywhere, and they should be cooked into your platform like they are with SAPs, will be commonplace throughout every retail business process. And when combined with user context such as the current shopping journey, previous purchase history, user-generated preferences, and fusion data, will generate the predictive analysis retailers need to create hyper-personalized experiences and offers, which are aware of the consumer buying context, as well as provide intelligent and associate-assisted assistance based on real-time need of the shopper in that moment. Algorithms will be commonplace throughout every retail business process and will empower recommendations and tailored experiences for consumers and associates. So I would ask if anybody sees the biggest impediments to engaging hyper-personalization. Anyone? But honestly, I stated the two I think are, I think a lot of these technologies are already being evaluated or integrated into retailers' environments, especially the robotics. But I truly see probably one of the biggest impediments to making this reality for some retailers is the ability to effectively implement a customer-centric culture, which is crucial, and that all critical digital transformation of not just systems, but business processes as well. So at SAP, we really have our approach to hyper-personalization has three key components. A unified commerce environment, or this commerce everywhere. And again, this isn't just the digital channel. These are all channels where we've got these personalized shopping experiences, frictionless experiences, and that customer profile with identity and consent. And that's built upon a platform of that customer data, that information, which will involve first, second, and third-party data. And again, these data sources are continuing to explode. It's a daunting task, but you've got to establish that level of trust, that identity and consent, and then protect that religiously to ensure that that customer is going to continue to share that information. And then finally, we've got to put the metal where the road is there and be able to sell products but do it in a way where we've got a very integrated, powerful marketing engagement engine capable of engaging with customers via relevant and personalized experiences that add real customer value, like my shopping experience with that online fashion retailer. I mean, that just really adds significant value to my life. And I look forward to them making me offers because I'm like, wow, this goes with this. Heck, sign me up. So last point here, and I think it's a very critical one. It's very important to note that this journey toward becoming a customer adaptive retailer, that ability to not just create very exciting, compelling customer experiences, but ultimately to be able to predict and adapt to consumers in the moment and add value to their lives, involves more than just excelling at hyper-personalization with customers. At SAP, we see 5 key critical pillars to required to achieving this objective. First, we got to have real-time access to a single and accurate view of your business. That's just retail 101, basic foundational stuff. Not having accurate access to your existing inventory and effective fulfillment will render worthless the best laid plans for compelling customer experiences. As we saw during the pandemic, it was very convenient to be able to go online and buy things that you couldn't go out and buy yourself, for instance, in a grocery store. But the customer nightmares that began exploding because retailers, a lot of them didn't really even know what they had in their stores. And the majority of retailers, that's their fulfillment center for online orders. If you don't know what you have, you're setting up customer experience nightmares. So you've got to shore up that foundational information. And then, as I've mentioned a couple of times, establishing and protecting that invaluable customer trust is critical for compelling customers to share the intimate personal data required to create compelling personalized customer experiences and ultimately customers for life. Retailers must laser focus their entire business on wrapping their brand around the customer and ensuring that every touch point in the unified commerce shopping journey is seamless, frictionless, immersive, and personalized, creating an endless satisfaction loop before, during, and after the sale. And finally, the back-end systems, especially the digital supply chain, must be in lockstep with the front-end customer touchpoints to ensure that promises made are promises kept within every customer touch point along that shopping journey. Given the current experience maturity state of the industry, as we mentioned, that gap that exists between what customers expect and what a lot of retailers are able to provide, the compelling forces driving retailers to pursue customer adaptive retail, SAP is deeply engaged with our partners to develop service offerings which can guide retailers throughout their journey toward becoming customer adaptive retailers. We're carefully selecting our partners based on their ability and experience with guiding retailers through that critical customer-centric transformation process, as well as carefully selected based on their ability and experience with guiding retailers through a critical digital transformation process, which harnesses the power and potential of SAP's Retail Intelligence Platform. So there's my story. I'm sticking with it. Does anybody have any questions? All right. If you've got questions after the fact, you would like access to this deck or just would like to get more information on any of the topics I've discussed, there's my contact information, my email address. I'm available also on Twitter and on LinkedIn. And if there are no questions, then I would like to thank everybody for your time. And thank you for joining this roundtable session as it was.